I looked at that one, and that previous one, the sound was terrible because I think I wasn't connected on the sound. We're going to get this right before we start going, prime time with this. But it looks like the sound was not linked up the right way. So what I'm doing is I'm trying a slightly different record because the sound was bad. Let me thank y'all for helping me get through this little technological glitch. If you can hear me and the sound is terrible, I think there's a way for me to be able to look at the comments. Can you comment if the sound is awful on your end? Because when I just looked at that last video, it was like the video was like very glitchy, and the sound was like I was in a tunnel. Okay, thanks, Doc. Okay, good. So it sounds good on your end. Is the video glitchy, Doc? Am I like doing a robot on you, or can you see the video well? Okay. All right. Thanks, Doc. Okay. So both Docs. Okay. We got some Docs. Okay. So because I'm using a slightly different way to do this, did it sound like this the first time? And the video is fine. All right. So it's just that I'm trying this new live thing. And usually I just pop this phone up, not all fancy. I just get going on this. The review when I was looking at the streamed video didn't look so good. But if it came across to you guys, that's all that matters. I just don't have a video to post. That's the one thing I've got to figure out how to do on here. So I appreciate y'all for letting me see that. If the video now and the sound now is fine, I'm going to use this way of doing it as opposed to the other way. So the next time I do this will be next week. I appreciate you. I did, have some comments about the alcohol stuff. If you guys have any questions, obviously, Dr. Belgrave, you will not necessarily have them, and we'll be talking soon, obviously, on your podcast. But if anybody else has questions about that, this may be a good time for me to continue on this way. I'm going to take the headphones off and see if we can keep going. All right, we're going to work this out. We are going to work this out. When we are doing this full steam starting next week, we're going to be okay. So this means that I don't have to go back, try to edit. Whatever I say, it's long form, and you get to hear me drone on. All right. Very good, family. We will see y'all next week when we go, full steam with this. And please do let me know if you have any questions about your take. What's your take on Dr. Vivek Murthy making the recommendation that we should put that alcohol increases the risk of cancer on the labels of all alcoholic beverages, beer, wine, spirits, doesn't matter, in the U.S. Let me know what you think, and we will get going. Let's see. Good. Okay. Next week, we're not going to be so choppy. We're going to have it up and ready. I hope all the people in Atlanta and the surrounding areas are staying dry, that you got out, saw a little snow. I'm from Chicago. I'm good on the snow. My 10-year-old hadn't seen that much snow because she was born here. So she was in dreamland, and so we let her do that, and I came back into the crib, okay? All right. Thank y'all. I appreciate the input. Definitely should be on the labels. Okay, so let's hear that. So we got let's see. So Shan, you're saying it definitely should be on the labels. She's saying it definitely should be on the labels. And what I had mentioned before, I think you were on before, what I had mentioned before is if it goes on the labels, who's going to read them? Shan, when is the last time you read the label on the side of the bottle? I don't have any bottles in the studio, obviously. But, you can barely even find it. that alcohol shouldn't be consumed by pregnant women, that alcohol shouldn't be used when you drive or operate machinery, or that it can cause health issues. Oh, you just got on. Okay, that's fair. So what do you guys think? Yes, I think so. It's like tobacco products. Individuals can make their own decisions. Yes. There is something to say, Dr. Kimberly. There is something to say about information, though. So one of the problems that I think we have, and just in the healthcare landscape, is that we don't disseminate the information from us, from the people who are the purveyors of the information. So what ends up happening is there's a gap. And this is natural human tendency to fill that gap with something. TikTok, Instagram, I'm on Instagram, right? They just end up filling those gaps. So I do think that there is a place for us to fill that gap, but I think we have to go on offense. I think we can't be sitting back on defense like we did with COVID-19. COVID-19, we let all the people who had all kinds of ideas, completely unnatural, unscientific, that like biology doesn't even work that way type of ideas. And because there was a vacuum for information, the larger public started to, not everybody, right, but the larger public started to adopt some of those things. And the more and more those got propagated, it's like viral. That's what the platforms are. They're viral. Then the wrong information got out there. So bad actors, and there were some, and people who are just poorly informed got out ahead of COVID-19. And in my mind, it was worse than it had to be. So when it comes to stuff like this, it's still our responsibility as the people who get that information first, who are studying it, who have dedicated their lives to it, to get the information out. I think that this is the wrong way to do it. I think it's the wrong way to do it because when you try to tell the alcohol industry, now you got to put a label on something, you're going to fight for 2 years. It's going to cost $100 million in litigation and everything else. And then people are still going to pretty much drink about the same, if that's what you do. However, if on the other hand, you say, let's adopt a marketing strategy, something like Susan G. Komen. I just said this on the previous live. Now, it doesn't matter what somebody else does. If you tell me I should be really careful, I should go talk to my doctor and expressly about what is alcohol and its role in my health. Is there any reason that I should stay away from alcohol? What are some of the people who should? People who have addictive tendency or dependency issues with alcohol, family history of dependency issues with alcohol, people who have acute heart failure, renal or kidney failure, liver failure, alcoholic allergies. Believe it or not, there is an allergy to certain forms of alcohol. You can form an allergy or kind of an immune response to alcohol. There are people, for example, there's genetic absence or mutation in alcohol dehydrogenase or aldehyde dehydrogenase, and those people tend to flush when they get alcohol. That sometimes runs in Asian families and Asian populations, so we call it the Asian flush. What it is just an enzyme problem. And those people, if you increase the amount of acetaldehyde is a category 1 carcinogen. It causes cancer. When alcohol gets broken down in the first step, it goes to acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde builds up in your body, boy, oh boy, you can see where if you've got a carcinogen swimming in your body, that the likelihood that you would form some of these cancers, for example, some of the digestive cancers, mouth, throat, esophagus, stomach cancers, and those are cancers that are disproportionately seen in, for example, people who have these the breakdown enzymes, with those enzymes when they have a mutation in those enzymes. So there's some people who shouldn't drink it altogether. But if getting the message out so people can be aware of that is going to cost us all $100 million, and then they're going to put it on the side of the bottle and we won't have ever looked at it, that's not the strategy. Okay? All right. What else we have here? Yes. Okay. Any other thoughts about that? Any other thinking? Ebony's on. Thank you. Erica, hello. Dr. Miller is on. We got Morgan. We got all kind of folks. I'm just trying out this new, for all of y'all who just kind of popped on, I'm trying this new application to go live on instead of coming from my phone. phone is not a part of it. So that's really mainly why I'm on. But we were doing part 2 from the first live, which I just wanted to make sure that the sound was coming across okay. All right. Thoughts about that? Any thoughts about Dr. Murthy and his idea, although he's probably going to be not the Surgeon General for a very long time with the new incoming administration. What's your thought about that? Should these labels say alcohol increases your risk for certain kinds of cancer? Should we put it on there? And what's your thought? Too bad we don't have I can't just pop you guys up here. That's the only problem about this application called Loola, Loola. They let you broadcast to multiple streams. So I've got YouTube and Instagram going. If I want TikTok, I got Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Twitch. The problem is I can't pop you up on with me. I can't invite you on like they can on your phone. Okay. All right. All right, people. Thank you for joining. We're going to go full steam with this. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to use this sound. I'm going to use this camera doing my lives going forward. I just think I just have more fun with it. This is one of my hobbies, as I said. Dr. Miller is saying on here before we go, I think it will be hard to get it on the bottle. Alcohol is big business. And that word hard is the underscored word because that means it's going to cost a whole lot of people a whole lot of money. It's going to cost, time. By the time we get around to this thing whitewashed out and what actually goes on the bottle, it's going to be 5 years from now. And that period of time where we could be informing the public using a small amount of that. What if we just bought some ads on football coming up? You can spend $100 million real fast. You start that process. Susan G. Komen didn't spend $100 million to get the linebackers wearing pink from head to toe. I guarantee they didn't spend $100 million. Now, they may have, over time, gotten $100 million. They didn't spend it on the campaign, and that campaign worked. You want to build awareness, use the things that build awareness. Use social, use media, use it all, and not necessarily going after a sentence or two on a bottle that literally, if it weren't for this coming up in the news, I would have never read it. I wouldn't personally even read it. All right. If not a label, this is Shan, if not a label, maybe warning labels on the display shelves where it's sold. Again, I like all of these ideas, right? But you'll have a legal fight, right? You'll have a legal fight from the lobby, from the people who make and sell it. I've had sidebar conversations. People are like, I don't care what's on the side of that bottle. I'm going to have a tequila. Well, that's a mindset thing. So if we were going to change a mindset, and it's not going to change because you put something on the side of a bottle. Go look at the canned food that's in your pantry right now. Start to read that. I mean, come on, seriously, right? We put stuff on labels, and it doesn't have the kind of effect that we want. If we really want to exact a real change, I think we got to go out and do stuff like this. What if all the responsible parties just started using some of their budget to broadcast, hey, listen, go talk to your primary care doctor, please. Go talk to your primary care doctor about whether or not you should even touch alcohol. And if you should, how much is okay for you? Now, I know what the data's saying. I know it came out. The data says no amount of alcohol is okay. No amount of alcohol is okay. As a scientist, I cannot agree with that. I cannot agree with that idea. Because if that were okay, if that were true, then there wouldn't be any blue zones with people who drink sake or wine or, right? These people are living to 100 years old. And if there weren't multiple blue zones where people lived for, long periods of time, where alcohol was just a part of the normal everyday, not that they're overdoing it, right? Even people who live in blue zones and they overdo alcohol, I guarantee they're not a part of those people living to 100, not in large number anyway, right? Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. Somebody said, well, what about George Burns? You may not remember George Burns. Not Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons. George Burns, who was an actor, singer, multi-talented guy. I don't know. He was 100 or something before he died. He used to drink a martini and smoke cigars all day long. Well, I guarantee he's got some genes in there that protected him from the badness. Okay. With that being said, that's not recommendable for everybody. But I don't agree with the idea that no amount of alcohol is the way to go. And just so you know, it's not because I want to drink alcohol. So there's a lot of that, right? So a lot of people who are giving information, you have to ask the question, why are they giving it like that? Are they just making a defense for themselves? I hardly drink. I mean, ask my wife. You know, I in the past, I drank more than I do now. I might have a beer at night or something like that. Now it's like non-alcoholic Coronas. So I'm not saying it because I think that we should all be able to just drink as much as we want. The most careful purveyors of health information are extracting themselves from the recommendations, right? They are pulling themselves and their own sort of editorialization away from the data and disseminate real information to you. Somebody who says, oh, don't take a statin. Well, you should probably go and look a little bit more into why they're saying that. What happened to them? Because not all statins are bad for all people. In fact, they're saving some people's lives. Anyway, I'm sort of going off the point, but I want you to know that my information is coming to you because I want you to get another opinion about this. Why shouldn't we put it on the side of a label? We shouldn't put it on the side of a label because it doesn't work, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to prove that it doesn't work. Well, what should we be doing? Taking that same money and redeploying it, reallocating it to something that is proven to work. Go sit in the conference room with the people at Susan G. Komen and figure out what they're about to do next. Copy it and paste it and do it. I'm just saying. And I'll eat my hat. Okay, Dr. Miller was saying, I was just thinking that when reading this, right? Okay. Okay, anybody else? Any other thoughts? I can't tell who's... It's the only thing about this. I can't tell who's still on, or maybe somebody knows how to do this. But let's keep the dialogue going. I'm going to pop back up next week, whatever topic is this. Our prayers are going out to people who are not doing so well, not just in California, the people who are not doing so well in this region here, which is the Southeast region and the East Coast. There are people who are suffering from fires and inclement weather, and our prayers go out to them. Let me know what you guys think as we sort of post this on Instagram. If you have other ideas, let's keep the dialogue going.